The Portal series, as a whole, are two very, very good games that let you discover the lore as you play them, as well as with some nice little bonuses. And it's kind of amazing to see how this series came about. I mean, this series is set in the Half-Life universe, and this was released with the quote Half-Life Orange box set, the first game. And this was in turn to help appease people as they were clamoring for Half-Life 3 and still hadn't gotten it. And what it is in the most basic of terms is this is a series that is a bunch of 3D puzzles using a wormhole-like device called Portal Gun. And you have a bunch of characters in this simple little series that are so damn memorable. And even the first game, it was simple. You play a silent protagonist that is known as Chell. And you're doing these tests. But something doesn't seem entirely right even from the beginning, as something happens to the entity talking to you. And Chell that is GLaDOS. But you must go through a bunch of test chambers using the portal gun to figure a way around. And this was the beautiful thing of it, because you had to use the portal gun to close distances or allow something to get where it needs to be. But you can only create 2 portals at a time. And this is the brilliance of it, because it makes you think. And as Chell works her way through the Aperture Science testing chambers, you slowly get to one of the most worrisome things. Why? I mean, there's some lethal elements in some of these tests. And eventually, once you get through those tests, you are about to be incinerated. Of course, throughout the game, you're being told that there's going to be some cake for you. Cake. And of course, you also find the den of a character known as the Rat Man. Rat Man. To which we must. He is a scientist who worked at Aperture before GLaDOS went homicidal and killed everyone. He managed to avoid being killed. And as you discover his lairs, you get to learn things. You learn how dangerous GLaDOS is. And you basically, in turn, save the world. Well, when you avoid getting incinerated, you end up running about in the back ends of the facility with little clues to help you find your way through, and eventually to the lair of GLaDOS, where you must, again, use the portals to literally trick GLaDOS into blasting herself, getting various modules blown off her, and incinerated enough to literally cause her to shut down. And then you're out. And, that's where the game ended. Initially, it ended with you escaping the facility, and then they announced the release. They announced work on Portal 2, which means the Portal ending had to be retconned, which is actually quite easy to do in certain ways, especially if it's on the computer. Well, of course, since Valve started the Steam engine, the Steam platform for games, it's quite easy for them to get a update out there. But that's that one. Of course, when it was released, when they released Portal 2, they also released a graphic comic you could download, which shows you what happened. Someone brings Chell back into the facility, or something, I should say. And Ratman has to make sure she's going to be safe. Because he managed to get her in there because she had one little quirk. See, Chell was never supposed to be put into testing for one well-deserved reason, and that is the fact that she does not give up. She is the most persistent subject they had for testing. That's why on her files is do not test ever. Of course, knowing how something about GLaDOS, which is something that gets revealed in the second game, this is why you had her. This game also came up with one of the most remarkable memes out there, the cake is a lie. Because it always ran on that the cake is not real. You are not going to be able to eat the cake. The cake is a lie. It's there to keep you testing, and then once you get to that last test, you get incinerated and you never get your cake. Bastards. But then we have Portal 2, in which we are put into we were put into like a suspended animation type thing. A suspended animation chamber that looked like a nice bedroom, where you were, quote, supposed to be revived every once in a while so you can stretch your legs, your body doesn't atrophy too much. But of course, the facility is now starting to fall apart because GLaDOS is inactive. And in fact, you are woken from your slumber in part 2 by Wheatley. And in that one, he's trying to help you survive. He's an idiot. You can actually easily pick up on this with some of the things he does. Trying passwords 11111, nope. 11112, nope. 11113, nope. 11114, nope. That kind of stuff. Of course, as you manage to get to the central chamber and then get down underneath so you could try and release it, or open up an exit for you to get out, you end up reactivating GLaDOS. which she throws you into more testing with more tools and all that, like light bridges and catapult panels. Those are kind of cool, to be honest. And again, using getting the portal gun and using it to get through this labyrinth of tests, figuring out what you have to do, and moving on. And you also end up meeting up with Wheatley again. And he sort of helps you. Because as he puts it, we get her out of control. I take over, you go, you leave, everybody's happy. Okay, I can agree with that. Except he's an idiot. And when you get to the even to replace, there is a stalemate, which means you have to go hit the stalemate button, which means you have to outwit GLaDOS. And then you have Wheatley in charge. And Wheatley goes instantly mad with power. Never give an idiot power, he will abuse it. And he won't know how to handle it. And then Wheatley, easily convincing himself that you were against him the whole time, dumps you and GLaDOS into the oldest part of the facility, which seems to be a bit underground. And you must work your way through that facility using portals and using new mechanics that are available to you. You must also reclaim GLaDOS at some point. Which means now these two enemies are working together. Chell and GLaDOS. And you also find out a little bit more about how GLaDOS came to be, as well as how the portals came to be, the portal gun and the where you can place these portals. From recordings of Cave Johnson, voiced by the ever-present J.K. Simmons. You learn of his secretary, or assistant, or however you want to call it, Caroline. You learn that moon rocks, moon dust was part of how they made the paint that's used on the panels that you can put portals on. You learn of new stuff like frictionless propulsion gel and which is blue, and a repulsion gel, which is orange, that you can actually bounce off of. Which is kind of neat because you do one of those tests is like you use the blue gel to run, and you got the orange gel on the sides, and you get a boing, a boing, a boing, a boing, a boing, and you cross a large pit that way, and it's kind of fun. That was fun. I actually enjoyed that. And, figuring the tests out and using these gels to figure things out. It worked. And as you return to the now Wheatley-controlled part of Aperture Science, what you find out is that Wheatley he's an idiot, more so. And anyone who is pulled in, GLaDOS always had that need to test because the nodes are dependent on it. They need to test. They need to constantly test. And in part, GLaDOS was developing two little robots. In part because she knew humans don't last forever. In fact, by the end of the game, when you finally get to Wheatley, and in an epic moment, because you learn the portal gun works on this paint that is made from moon dust. And as you are fighting Wheatley, there is a crack. Well, you have one portal there on the ground right underneath Wheatley. The ceiling's cracked. You see a beautiful full moon. And there you have it. Because the atmosphere on the moon is, of course, literally almost non existent, definitely not something humans can breathe in. Imagine the vacuum flux as everything gets sucked through that portal, including Wheatley. And GLaDOS actually does save the day here. Because as everything's going on, of course, the unit realizes something's not, the system realizes something's not right and manages to replace GLaDOS in charge. She actually rescues Chell and sort of snaps the cord for Wheatley, leaving Wheatley to float in space. And GLaDOS actually does keep her word, with Chell now being replaced, and she's gotten rid of Caroline. But she does release Chell. And of course, you have a nice little ending to the franchise, which I actually liked. That was kind of nice. And in some ways, I wouldn't be surprised if they ever decide to do a Portal 3, they will probably retcon it in some way. The Portal 2 ending. But it's a beautiful series, it keeps you thinking. The music for the games is very nice. And it is so popular. It has been ported to other systems. In fact, I don't know if it'd be out by the time you listen to this, but it's going to be released on Switch, which is saying something. That a series this that started in 2007 and had a second game in 2011 is still so popular. And how can it not be popular? I mean, it's got a great dynamic behind it. It's got memorable characters, both seen and unseen, thanks to the people that worked on it. I mean, you have J.K. Simmons as Cave Johnson, and he is doing this over the top thing with Cave Johnson. And it's kind of funny to hear GLaDOS go, yeah, 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 I like this guy. And all the ridiculous things he goes saying. When life gives you lemons, you grab life by the throat and says, stop giving me these damn lemons, that kind of stuff. GLaDOS is such a memorable antagonist. And some have commented her look remarkably looks like something out of another culture. Chell, the silent protagonist, and it's not really until you are able to use the portals to pull off some amazing moves. You could actually set up a portal above and below you and create an endless falling loop. That's kind of neat when you think about it. And it's not something that you can actually, you know, get trapped in, because all you have to do is just whoop, change where a portal is and you end the loop. You have, but you can actually maneuver the portals like in here, out here, and you could just step into it and you can actually see yourself, your full self. Even like doing it positioning, you could just like turn around, but like if you do it right, it's like you're looking face to face with yourself, which is kind of neat. It's so beautiful how they came up with this concept, and all your characters are memorable. Wheatley's memorable, the companion cube, the turrets. The turrets, they're like, "Hello, are you still there?" Because good, shoot you. And when they shoot each other, ow, 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 ow. You can't help but giggle and have a smile. That's the beauty of it. All these characters, remember Wheatley, he's an idiot, but god damn it, he's memorable. And Ratman, a character you never see. Although, if you listen to the soundtrack in the first game, you can actually hear what's supposed to be him talking. And obviously, in the first game, he is supposedly still alive. The second game, he is definitely most dead. And it's kind of neat that the games end with some upbeat sounding songs. Like, I'm still alive. Still alive. That's an upbeat sounding song. Starts out a little slow and then just builds up into one doozy of a tune. Then I Want You Gone. That's another great song. I mean, I used to want you dead, but now I only want you gone. And this is actually one of the few computer games that I know of that they made a board game for. Sort of board game. There's actually a board game out there where you must design. It is a co-op game where you are being uncooperative, so to speak. You guys have to work together, but you also want to work and come up with tests that nobody can get past, so but you, and you can move on and win the game. And I'll tell you, if that isn't a sign of a fun series, I don't know what is. But I was actually glad I was finally able to play these games. I saw people playing them online. And there's another thing about these games. You can watch people play them online, and you probably can solve them in a different way or do something different than the people who play through the games. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if somebody looks at my videos, sees them like, how did he do that? I could probably do it a little bit better than he did. And they could. Because that's the beauty of this game. Even if you see someone do it, you may not remember how it's done, but you could figure it out. I mean, I saw people play through it, like I said, and I played through it, and I'm like, I'm figuring it out on my own. I only had to look up very little for Portal 2, because one stumped me. But even then, you can deduce things quite easily. Okay, there's where I need to go, and I just need something. Can I shoot that from here? Yes, I can. Okay, let me shoot. Hey, that works. Boom, boom. I'm through. And that's, I think, why this series is such a good series. You get a chance to play this, do so. It is a remarkable series of games. It's only two games officially. But definitely play it. Play it for the fun, play it for the weirdness, play it to go through one portal and out another. Try and make a forever fall, or that's fun. It'll probably slow your system down, but wee. The Portal series is a great series. Definitely play it. Definitely have fun with it. If they make a third, which who knows, maybe someone will make a third official third game in the franchise. If they do, I'll play it because that's how fun this is. You are solving puzzles, and I think we as people, us as thinkers, we like to solve puzzles. And that's all I'm going to say about the Portal series. I hope you've enjoyed this, and please subscribe to the channel and check out other retrospectives I have up. Again, this is Rich. This is Rich Kale here on YouTube. Rich Gen X elsewhere. Bye.